Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm setting myself a little bit of a challenge today, and that's to create a layout using my scraps. Now I have offcuts from the Christmas charm collection from Creative Memories. This was a beautiful Christmas collection that Creative Memories released. It was hugely popular. Most of it has sold out. I believe the papers have been restocked and they are now available on the website. But as for, stickers and embellishments, they sold out really quickly. And I've created a stack of layouts already with my Christmas charm supplies, and this is all I've been left with. And I seem to have a lot of green. Thankfully, I love the prints on the back of the green. I'm not a huge green fan, if you're wondering why I'm saying it like that. If you know me well, I'm not a big green fan. So I have a lot of green. There's some fun prints on the reverse of those yet. This is all I have left of these papers. I loved the gold. I've used it quite a bit and I absolutely love. This was my most favorite paper. It had the check design and the stars on the back. So I've got a little bit of an idea already which direction I'm going to go. But that is my challenge for today, is to use up my scraps. And if you're looking, for some inspiration for some Christmas or holiday themed layouts, my November sketchbook for 2024, which is now available on my website, I will link it below this video. I created the sample pages for this sketchbook from the Christmas charm collection. And as you can see, I've got lots of festive themed layouts that I'm going to be able to add my photos to. I've also popped a few free tutorials up on my brand new blog at papersweetpea.com. So all of this will be linked below, but this is the reason why I don't have a lot of the Christmas charm collection left. So I'll just move all these offcuts to the side. I didn't even have a full sheet of designer paper that I could work with for my background. Things are dire, friends. So I'm working with cardstock, and I have a sheet of the cranberry, and I'm also going to be working with the bright white. And I'm just going to trim down my bright white cardstock just a little bit because I just want a very thin border of the cranberry showing. You could, of course, remove the center of your cranberry cardstock first, and that's going to, conserve your cardstock supply so that you can use that for photo mats or whatever you like, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to line that up at the 1 inch mark on my 12-inch trimmer. And I've shared this many times, but you can see on the side of the blade housing unit, you've got this white line that recognizes 1 inch from the top and 1 inch up from the bottom. So that's our marker that we're going to use, and I'm going to slide that down until the top of that blade housing unit is at the top of my cardstock. And the great thing about the Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer is that it won't start cutting until you press down. So I'm going to press down, and I'm going to stop when the bottom edge of that blade housing unit is on the bottom edge of my cardstock. And effectively what that has done, it has begun cutting a frame from this cardstock. And we just need to repeat that on all 4 sides, which will remove the center. So then we can go ahead and mat some photos with that offcut or use it on another project. It's a really great technique to get in the habit of using, because it just helps to stretch those supplies of yours further. So as you can see, I've removed the center and I'm left with that 1 inch wide frame. So I'm going to bring back in my bright white cardstock, and I just want to trim it down to 11.5 inches by 11.5 inches. And that's going to give us a 1/4 inch frame of the cranberry showing behind our white cardstock. So I'll just rotate that and cut the other side. And once I've got that cut down to size, I can add that over my cranberry cardstock frame like so. And it's just given us that nice little coloured edge behind our white cardstock. I'll just grab my adhesive tape here, and when you've got it nice and square, you can come in, and I'm just adding a little bit of tape to start with. We can stick it into place. So we can set this to the side now as we progress with our layout. And it's probably no surprise to many of you, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to create some fun festive themed flowers. So I have my Small Heart custom cutting system template, and I'm going to be working with the center of this template. It's sort of like a little egg shape. Makes for perfect flower petals. And I've also got my small circle, the Small Circle custom cutting system template. And I'm going to work with my green and my blue blade for these and make 2 different sized flowers. I actually cut a little template just from some scrap cardstock. So this is the size petal using the blue template, and this is the size petal using the green. And I don't just want to use just one paper for these flowers. I'm actually going to layer up each petal. And it's just going to give a nice dimension to the flowers and a great bit of colour for the layout, especially since we're working with a white background. I'll set these to the side. Now you're going to need some scrap paper, and I'm going to say paper just because we're going to be adhering our designer paper over the top. So you don't want anything that's going to, you know, be too thick. I have just an offcut of some Firecracker Shimmer paper here. It's a much lighter weight paper to cardstock. So that's what I'm going to be using. I encourage you, as I said, just use a scrap piece of paper that you may have. And basically what you want to do is select 3 different designer papers for each flower. So I'm going to work with what I have with this stripy paper, and let's knock some green in there as well. And perhaps, what else will I work with? Oh, I've got a little bit of that red check. I've selected a paper, obviously the colour, even though it's a scrap piece of paper, you know, I sort of thought, well, even if it does show through behind my designer papers, it's not going to matter. That's, again, completely up to you. You might just want to use some white. It doesn't really matter. I could have probably used up a heap of this green, but that's why, you know, I did select a scrap piece of paper that, you know, will blend with the tones of my Christmas paper, my Christmas charm themed paper. So from what I can work out, each flower is going to need 5 petals. So I'm just going to start cutting some strips from the papers that I've got here at 3/4 of an inch to, let's leave it at that. We're not going to need much. I'd like to make several flowers, you know, for the page. So I'll start with 3 of those. I'll cut another 3 strips here. 3/4 of an inch wide. I've got all different lengths of paper, as you can see, but it's not going to matter because we're just going to be cutting out petals. And I've got this fabulous stripy paper. That's one. I'll cut 3 of this as well, and then we'll see what we've got left over. We might probably be cutting more anyway. 3. Okay. I know you're all scratching your head, but I promise this is all going to come together. You'll see where I'm heading with this. So I'm just going to actually start adhering these strips over the top of this scrap paper. So I'm just going to add a little bit of repositionable tape and get it lined up over this paper. Actually, I want that one in the middle. So you need to think about the placement of your strips because that's how your petals are going to be cut. My bad, I should have said that. So start with the red because I want that stripe in the middle. So it'll be red down the base. Then I'm going to put the striped. And then we'll have the green at the top of each petal. Like so. And I've got enough room on my scrap paper, so I'm actually just going to keep laying these down. I think I can fit another 3 down. Like so. Stripy paper. And the green. Okay, so I'm going to cut the petals of the larger sized flower, which means that will be my green blade on the inside track of the small heart. Now the small heart is found in the Gemstones collection of templates. I forgot to mention that at the start of my video. So if you go to the website hunting for that, that's where you will find the small heart. But basically you can see by the shape there, you've got a more narrow width here at the base of this petal shape. So you want that facing down, and I'm basically just going to, you know, center that over my strips of paper like so and begin cutting. And as I said, we're going to need 5 petals for each flower. So let's just see if we can get 5 from each row that I've made there. We'll take that right out to the edge. So it is the green blade. I cut around. And as you can see, it's cut a very cute petal there with the different papers. So I'm just going to keep moving that along. It doesn't matter if one petal has, you know, more of one paper showing than another. It's just going to all add to the effect of your little paper flowers. Oh, and I didn't do very well at adhering that into place. If any of your petals pop off that scrap paper, just stick them back on. Easy peasy. I've got 2. So that has my 5 petals cut. That's going to be 1 flower, okay? So I'm just going to, I know now that I'm going to get another 5 off this top row. I actually want 3 clusters of flowers on my layout. So I'm going to make sure that I cut enough for 3 flowers. Okay, so with our larger petals all cut, we can come in now and cut some smaller petals, and I'm going to change my papers up for that. I'm going to work with both sides of the check as well as the gold, and I think for this size petal, and I'm just again going to use my little template that I cut as a guide, I think we might say, go with 1/2 inch wide strips. So we'll just cut those up, and again I'm probably going to cut, you know, enough for 3 flowers, but you can make as many or as few as you like for your layout. I need to cut double from this paper because we're working with both sides. Okay, and then just the same deal, bringing in my scrap paper. You want to make sure that you get the adhesive all the way along each strip. I'm going to start with the gold. I'm going to put the star print in the middle. Oh, I'm out of tape. I'm going to have the star print in the middle, and then I'm going to put the check at the top of each petal. Okay, so with our strips in place, now I can start cutting our little petals, and we're going to work with our blue blade. So just line that up best you can. And we'll start cutting, and we're going to need 5 of these as well. So that's a smaller sized petal. All right, so with most of my petals cut, I'm just going to bring back in my scrap paper again and the small circle custom template, because we need to cut some circles as anchors. I'm just going to use the green blade on the inside track, and because we've got enough there for 6 flowers, I'm going to cut 6 circles. Like so. So they're our anchors. Now our flowers are also going to need some centers, of course. So I'm going to use gold for my large flowers, and I'm going to use the green for my small. And for this I'm going to use the circle template again, but the blue blade, because we only need a small circle. I'm going to cut 3 from the gold, and I'm going to cut 3 from the green. Got my green here. And now we can start putting our flowers together. So I'm going to take one of the base circles, and I'm just going to coat that in adhesive. I'll take my little group, and it's just a matter of spacing them around that circle. You can overlap your petals that little bit if you like. Again, I'm working with repositionable tape, so if I want to move things, I can. If I'm not happy with the position of things. When you're happy with the position of your petals, you can add your center, and I'm going to use foam squares for that. Now with that completed, you can see it's a very busy flower because we've used, you know, lots of different prints. But I can assure you, once these go down on that white background, they're really going to pop. And I'm just going to repeat this now for all of these groups of petals. And we can just keep adding these petals around that base. Just maneuver them till you're happy with the shape. Remember, no two flowers ever look the same. And finish off with your little circular center. And when it comes to adding these smaller petals to the circular base, I've sort of placed mine a little bit further to the edge. So with the larger ones, they were, you know, tucked in quite well, you know, towards the center of that base. So I'm just pushing them out just a little bit. But the same thing, just making my way around, spreading out those petals until you're happy with your flower's shape. And I can add my center. Like so. Now with my flowers all completed, this was the basic layout design I've had in mind. I've printed my photos. I've got a 6x4 photo that I added to one of the mats from the Variety Matte Pack. And then I've cut down 2 photos to 3.5 by 3.5. And I've got a smaller frame around these 2 little photos. I cut some of the green paper to 3.75 by 3.75 to create, you know, the mat for those photos. But being our main photo here, that's why, you know, it's got the wider border and a different, obviously, background tone for that. But I also wanted to add some leaves. Now, if I'm making flowers, my go-to punch is always this 5-leaf punch. It's an older punch. It's no longer available, which makes me sad because I love it, especially when I make lots of paper flowers. However, I'll just share with you a really simple way that you can still make some little leaves for your flowers. I've got some avocado cardstock here and also the Creative Memories circle punch. And it's just a matter of doing a double punch. And what I mean by that, if you punch a circle like so, and then it's a matter of feeding that circle back into the punch to create a leaf shape and punching again. And you'll be able to, you know, create your leaves that way. You will have a little bit of waste on that green. It's not a lot though. Okay, so that's how I'm going to create my leaves. And that'll just be a matter of then, you know, tucking them in around those flowers and just building the shape and design for the page. So I'm going to go ahead and get my photos stuck into place, my flowers, and then we can tuck some leaves as well. So you can see the difference it makes to the layout once you get those leaves in place. And I've really done nothing special. It's just a matter of, you know, working with it until I'm happy with the balance. They're a great way to cover in any blank space that you may have. But I've just tucked those in and around each of those flowers. Now really just to finish off, I actually found in my stash, I've got some cranberry serif alpha stickers. So I think I'm going to create a little title with these. And I've also just typed out some journaling for my page. It says Luna's first Christmas, December 2023. She loved posing under the tree and receiving all the attention for it. And I've just typed that out in a Word document on my computer, printed it on some photosafe paper, and I've just added a little bit of ink to the edges of that just to help it stand out on that white background, because if you're putting white on white, it tends to get a little bit lost. So I'll stick that journaling into place. And I just like the aesthetic of, you know, having typed journaling. I have pretty messy handwriting, and I mean, I know that's not important. You should also document your handwriting, but I just love the aesthetic that the typed journaling gives to the layout. I've got that into place there, and I really wanted to add a title here to the top of the photo with ho ho ho, but as you can see, I've already created that title. I've got no more letter H or O's and not enough in the lowercase to be able to do that, so we'll go with second best option. I'm going to go with fa la la because that's still a nice, fun, festive little title for a Christmas page. So I'll use the uppercase. So that gets our title into place. Might even add, just to fill that space there below it, another leaf. Okay, so with our title in place, I really just want to go around and finish off the layout by adding a little hand-drawn border. And I've got my dual tip journal pen in black, so I'm just going to use the smaller tipped end. And I'm just going to go around and add just a freehand drawn stitched line all the way around the layout. And this is just the smallest detail, but it just really frames your layout nicely. I'll just hold that up to the camera so you can see it closer. It's just a very fine, very small hand-stitched line that we're drawing in there. So that completes my little layout for today. And as you saw from the start of the video, I really didn't have a lot of paper for creating this layout. So we've pretty much created something from almost nothing. I really do hope that you give this technique a try for yourselves. Don't forget, if you're after more festive inspiration for your layouts, my November sketchbook is now available on my website that features more of the Christmas charm collection. I will link that below this video, and I'll also link my blog. There's a couple of free tutorials on my blog as well. But for now, thanks so much for being here. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I shall see you next time. Take care. Bye.